But what we just need
I
to
think
do,
that's appropriate for the show that we're running.
yeah, it is. What a lot of better streamers do. Oh, there we go. Now we're live. Hey, is they'll have like they'll start the stream 5 minutes early and just have like starting in
Like a
5 minutes,
picture that's up. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
way I need to figure out how to do that.
Hmm.
But anyway, so we're back with the third episode.
I think this is our fourth, actually.
Shit.
So we talked about Equilibrium,
Yep.
MFKZ, and
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Episode 4. Oh no, we lost a follower.
Oh no.
Who left? It was probably Clone Boo. Yep. I had a feeling that wasn't a real person.
Is that one of your people from this morning?
Yeah, because when I clicked on his thing to look at it, he had 400. He had like almost 500 followers, and he was following like 3,000 people.
Oh wow. Yeah, that seems a little weird and a eensy bit suspicious.
So, I don't know. That's fine. We'll just have to drink more ranch.
Yeah.
So anyway, for this episode, the movie that Robert picked out for us to watch was
The Ballad of
Netflix
Buster Scruggs. Oh,
Ballad
you
of Buster Scruggs. Which I was confused because you said, like, I know it's a Coen Brothers movie, but, like, it doesn't say it's a Coen Brothers film. When it starts out, it's someone else's name.
Huh. What name did it say?
Ah, man. I'll have to. I feel dumb, like I didn't take a note of it. I just-
I mean, it's definitely them. Um,
Will it have the
I'm
opening?
curious now.
If it'll open.
Because I think it was based on some short stories that one of them wrote. So it might have been like the name of whichever one wrote the short stories.
I want to say it was the name Max.
Okay, well, I have no idea what that is then.
But it was just, it's like the first name that pops up, because, like, unless it's like one of their weird pseudonyms they use.
It definitely could be.
Because, yeah, I don't even see it on
Hmm.
oh! A Mike Zoss production.
Huh.
The, Mike Zoss is the production company. It is a weird antonym. Not antonym, it's a pseudonym the brothers use.
Gotcha.
Because I was like, yeah, Mike Zoss was the name that popped up. And I was like, okay, I don't know who that is. But anyway,
Mystery solved.
thanks, Wikipedia. We'll get started, and I'll say that overall, my feeling of the movie is disappointment.
I mean, that's okay. I like it a lot, but I totally get how you could watch it and not be as into it as I am. So,
Because I was super into the Ballad of Buster Scruggs vignette. Like, that one was
oh,
great.
so it just like set up a tone for you, and then the
Yes.
rest of it was not that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Sucker Punch means. After watching that first vignette, I was like, hell yeah, more of this. And then the low point was Meal Ticket.
I agree on that.
And then it never came back up to a point. But
Mm,
anyway, so for people who don't know, it's a movie of vignettes. And I think there's 6 of
yes.
them.
Correct.
And they're just completely unrelated stories. And the first one is I'm trying to think of a word, like the
The
aforementioned
titular.
titular. There it is. Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which was so different than any Western thing I had seen before
Yeah.
that I was really digging it, and it just had so many things that I like. Like, I really like goofy characters that break the fourth wall and talk to the main, like, talk to the audience, especially in his like very chipper Southern draw.
Yeah.
And his singing
I don't
was
I don't
nice.
remember the actor's name, but I love him in like all the Cohen things that I've seen him in.
I had his name in my brain, but I will pull it up again.
Because he's one of the brothers in Oh Brother, right? Well, they're
Yep.
not really brothers, but
It's
one of
Tim,
the
I
people.
believe it's Tim Blake Nelson. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's great.
I guess but yeah, like the first vignette was really good. I liked it, even though like the thing that I saw is the moving theme, I guess, was just basically the someone you're like who's like a main character is going to die by the end of it, and I'm usually very against just killing your main character because that's
Yeah.
the least interesting thing you can do with them.
Hmm.
Aside from just marrying them off and having them fly away on a magic carpet into a sun that turns into the genie.
Yeah. I do think that there is a theme beyond that. There's like a reason that the main character almost always dies and something they're trying to say with that.
And
Um,
I look forward to hearing like what your thing
okay.
is. The thing that I
Yeah.
saw as like I guess a running theme for all of them is sort of a
Hmm.
juxtaposition of darkness with elements of absurdity,
Yeah. They
which
definitely have that like dark comedy thing going on.
well not even dark comedy, but I mean
Yeah.
like absurdity, like things that like you see and you instinctively go that's ridiculous and not normal. Like
Hmm.
I didn't
Yeah.
think there was any comedy except for like one instance in Meal Ticket, the one with the quadriplegic, not
Yeah.
quadruple amputee, is him being just propped up on a stage and then delivering speeches is a little absurd and ridiculous. And then the chicken that does math is
Yeah.
also an absurd thing.
Can I ask, did you really want to know how that chicken did the math?
Well, I the thing that I was wondering about is whether he was like in the world of that doing the math, or like that's what so like the chicken was sort of magical in that instance,
Yeah.
or if it was like the dude like he learned because of the bell ringing or something that
Hmm.
it was a trick, and that makes it even sadder that Liam Neeson kills the dude for the chicken, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming he doesn't get the trick to do it, so he is ending up with nothing at the end.
I mean, it's hard to know. Like, we see he buys the whole cart from the guy, I think. So, like,
Mhm.
maybe he tells him the trick, but it's completely ambiguous. We have
But
no
like,
way of
do
knowing.
you know how he was doing the trick?
The chick? No. I just like want to. That's a very interesting mystery to me of like how do you set up like I like magic tricks and I like learning how they're done.
Because I
And that's
watched.
like a
Oh,
fun
sorry.
magic trick.
Oh man, is our next movie going to be The Prestige?
I would watch The Prestige.
Have you seen it? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago. Like I was a kid when I watched it. I think I
Dang.
watched it like 3 or 4 times though. So
But
I liked it a lot back then, and
but I
it'd
went
be
back
fun
and
to
watched that
re-experience.
scene specifically to see if I could
Mhm.
notice, and it didn't seem like he was ringing the bell differently because that was really the only thing in the scene, and I didn't see like a
Yeah.
hand come back and touch any of the buttons.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Coens make a deliberate choice to leave that ambiguous.
So my
Um,
assumption was with all the other shit that happens and all of those, like, yeah, maybe this chicken is smart enough to do math, because
yeah.
it's crazy because like I've seen horses that do math and it's like no, they recognize because you have to specifically say 1 plus 7, and then they're like okay, I remember what those sounds are. But like with the chicken, they were saying like 8 minus 1, 17, take away 3, and the chicken knew what all of those words meant.
11 twice.
11 twice was the one that stuck out. I was like, is someone yelling that repeatedly? And then the chicken knew that was 22.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the chicken seems too smart to be believable, but
But yeah, like for I guess this is the only point that I really have that I want to just talk about for a second is in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the absurdity is very apparent with like everything. Like
yeah.
when he like dusts himself off coming into the saloon and it leaves like the cloud of him as he walks away, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh, the way he gets Surly Joe to kill himself is
Yeah.
ridiculous and doesn't actually make sense in the context of that situation, unless that because he had to cock the gun the start, so when he stomped it multiple times he doesn't cock the gun 2 more times to shoot himself in the face 2 more times.
Yeah.
So
You
unless
want to know
that
something, a funny fact about Surly Joe?
he's the voice actor for Mr. Krabs.
It's not that. I didn't know that. That's a great fact, though.
Yeah, what about him?
Um, the character's name is spelled with a C instead of an S. It's a C with a cedilla, that little like tiny penis that goes on the bottom of the sea.
Huh.
Yeah. I
Huh.
I don't know. It's like a weird choice that I found funny.
I wonder if that's what it says on the Wikipedia page.
That's where I found it.
Oh, nice.
Was that like yeah, apparently even like the subtitles say S, but in the credits it's spelled with a C with the
Interesting.
Sevilla. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch the credits, but
I didn't either. I just read that, but
but I think the Ballad of Buster Scruggs vignette is the easiest one I think to analyze of like what the point of it
hmm.
is it's making fun of the whole idea of like the American Western myth.
Yeah. Um
Like that's how I took it. Like,
yeah.
and then I, where he is this, I don't know. I guess it's providing a human element to clearly someone who is almost supernaturally gifted. Who
Hmm.
that if you were like if his story was being told by a third person, they wouldn't be like, and then he thought about what job he wanted to have instead of doing this like, and then he just shot that guy 5 times, all of his fingers gone, and that's what all people would have to go off
Yeah.
of. Like, what is the name of the dude who roped like Pecos Bill, who roped a tornado and rode it all the way to heaven?
Mm.
Whereas probably what happened is he got sucked into a tornado and died.
Yeah.
But in American
Cowboy
mythology,
legend.
he gets a saddle and rides it all the way to heaven. Like he meant to do it.
As you do.
But one analysis I saw of it, I think it was on a Wikipedia thing, and then I looked it up also, is that he's like a representation of the US military,
Huh.
where he politely escalates a situation to the point he is justified in showing force to
Yeah.
someone that he is clearly more skilled than, kills them, and then like treats it like it's all okay, and then they sing and dance, and it's acted like it's all heroic.
Hmm.
Which I was like, I guess that makes sense for almost all of it, but the end.
Yeah.
How do we want to talk about this? Do we want to take these one at a time? I feel like I
I,
might be jumping all around. So do you want to just stick with one vignette at a time?
I mean, one at a time is fine, but I do think there are like links between them, so I don't mind. I mean, I think it's going to be a little messy regardless, but that's at least like a good framework to try and work around.
So like, what did you think of the but first vignette?
I like that one a lot. Like it's definitely one of the high points for me because it's just really fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like the characters. The action is great. The like Looney Tunes moments are
Exactly. Like it's
yeah.
ridiculous. It's like a live
Mhm.
action cartoon.
Yeah. Um, I love the music in it too,
Mm.
especially "Cold Water." The song that it opens on is great.
It's cool water.
Cool Water.
But like even in like so yeah, the music was great. Is like even when Buster Scruggs, who's the hero of the story, dies at the end, it wasn't like
Mhm.
a sad moment.
Yeah.
Really, like it kind of just kept it going because like
It.
he dies and he has the unrealistic moment of like looking at his hat and seeing the bullet wound, which I
Yeah.
thought was I think probably the underrated coolest camera shot in that whole vignette
Hmm.
is him looking at the first seeing the entrance wound and it's clean, and then he looks at the back of the hat and sees that it's bloody and shot out the back.
Yeah.
And then he like looks in the mirror, sees it, and goes like, "Well, that ain't good." And then has this little introspection moment of like, "Well, you can't be top dog forever."
Yeah.
And I'm
And then
just
floats off into heaven
yeah, well, having
while
that
he
awesome
has a
duet
duet.
with that dude
Yeah.
who's the lead singer of a weird folk band.
Man, yeah, that that piece is just great. So I do think, and I want to credit here the place where I'm getting some of this information from,
Okay.
um, is the podcast that I listen to on the Coen Brothers film, the
Mm,
Coen Brothers. And so one of the lenses that they looked at the whole movie through
okay.
is that it's the Coens' approach to talking about Western film genres. And so, like, apparently musical Westerns were actually a pretty big thing for a while.
Oh yeah,
And
they're
like that,
huge.
Yeah, so that's like kind of specifically what Buster Scruggs is like we're
Mm-hmm.
going to do 6 different hour takes on various Western genres. And they have some like other themes on them that are more like intrinsic to the Coen brothers. But like in that specific thing, like it's there, here's our musical Western.
Yeah, like that makes sense. Which now that's being said, I'm really disappointed. If that was their goal, is I didn't really see any of the things that like fit as spaghetti westerns,
Hmm.
which is personally my favorite genre of western films.
Yeah. I have like so little experience with Western films that it's like I don't know all the genres well enough to really like know what everything was.
Like I only know of
Yeah.
three. Like the one that you said, the
Hmm.
of at least of classic westerns. One being the
Yeah.
musical, one being I think it's just called straight or drama
Hmm.
western film, and that's like a lot of what John Wayne's movies are.
Gotcha.
Uh, and then spaghetti westerns, which are made by Italian directors, with hence the racist name,
Oh,
and
I had
they are
no
known
idea.
for really artistic cuts. Like that's like, have you seen a fistful? Have you seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No, like I've seen barely any Western movies.
Okay,
I
but
need
like
to see more.
the weird shot, like I'm sure you've seen maybe like I'm sure you've seen it parodied at least. The scene where like the three men who the good, the bad, and the ugly are kind of like standing side by side, like they're ready to draw, and then it cuts in on their eyes like one after the other really quick as they start looking back and forth.
Yeah.
That's that was like a shot that wasn't really seen before, so that got attributed to like spaghetti
Gotcha.
westerns. And then the other thing they're really known for is over the top, unrealistic, flashy gunplay.
Hmm.
Like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is either the third or the second film in. I think it's the third film in the Dollars trilogy, which follows Clint Eastwood's character, and he does ridiculous gun stunts where he's like spinning his gun and then he'll fan the hammer and kill 8 dudes who are standing in 7 different parts of a town.
Yeah.
Like traditional westerns, gun fighting and that would be like the dude standing up and then doing a shot and then going back down. Maybe a hat will get blown off, but it felt more grounded.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's the tiny history lesson of Western movies that I know, and I didn't
There
see
you go.
anything like that in the Coens. If that's what the point was like six
I mean,
different
yeah.
takes
I
on
don't know if
westerns.
that's even like the point, but it's at least I would say like the framing mechanism of,
Gotcha.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the genres well enough to really be able to know if like maybe there's a defense that could be mounted or someone who knows better could be like, "Oh yeah, if you go back and watch this one, you'll see it does this, this, and this." But I don't know the tropes of various Western genres well enough to know which they did. It seems like a weird choice if they didn't do spaghetti Western, because that's like, at the very least, something that everyone has heard of.
Hmm. Okay, well that's interesting. Are we moving on to the next one? Or are we still talking about the Buster Scruggs one?
I mean, I don't know that I have much more to say on it. Um,
I
I
mean, I
was,
don't really either. I was, I guess I could say overall, I was disappointed that there was nothing in the vignettes that tied them all together like blatantly. Like I was really hoping
hmm,
to cut to the end of the whole movie when the last vignette, which is clearly like, are these people dead and are they going to the afterlife? I was really hoping when they opened the hotel at the end, Buster Scruggs would be like working the desk or something, and
oh
I would be
yeah,
like, ah, but no. Anyway, so the next one, that's near and whatever the James
yeah.
Franco one.
Hmm.
That's yeah, that
You
one.
weren't a fan of that one?
No, because I
Oh,
honestly don't feel like it did anything at all.
yeah.
Because it started out very well. I liked how it started, where him going into the bank, like he was looking at the bank. Because also I'm coming off of just beating Red Dead Redemption, so I'm also thinking back to all of that sort of stuff. As he was looking at the bank as though like it was important to him more than just a source of money. Like his eye
Yeah.
was twitching, so I was like, "Oh, did something happen at this bank?" And then when he goes
Hmm.
in and starts talking to the teller, who I really like that actor. I forget his
Yeah,
name, but
he's
he's like
great.
in dodgeball and stuff, and he's being all kooky. And he was talking about people like, he's like, have you ever been robbed before? And the teller's like, yeah, a couple times, and I fucked up this dude's legs. I was expecting him to be like, that was me or my dad or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna rob you. And then the trick with the shotgun was really cool and very interesting. Like, I was like, oh, that's neat. What's gonna happen then? And then when he comes sprinting out from behind the thing covered in pan. But I guess before that is, I like and I dislike that they showed like the colored images of the storybook before going in, because it spoiled a couple stories for me. Like I knew what was going to happen because of that shot. But when it showed the pan shot one, I had no idea what that was other than a dude covered in pans getting shot at, and I was so ready to see that.
Yeah.
So then,
and I mean, it is like a great scene when he's charging at him. And
so that would be, in that instance, what I would consider absurd. That's the absurdity is like that happening. And then he I don't understand how James Franco loses that, because he lets the guy just get close enough to hit him with his gun.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems weird. So anyway, and then he gets new step when he wakes up, which he must have been unconscious for a really long time. Like, he is deadly brain damaged.
Yeah.
By that point, anyway. And then the Native Americans show up, which is very, like... It feels like this is all just a story of bad luck, which was kind of annoying, because I hate that trope. The other thing that I didn't really like, and this is me, like, I guess weirdly white guilting, is the movie's portrayal of Indians was really shitty.
Yeah, it's, like, pretty regressive, and that, like, I think if you were doing a straightforward modern Western today, you would probably not have, like, like, the only scenes with Native Americans, at least that I remember, are them as just kind of, like, almost faceless antagonists. I mean, they have faces, but they're just, like, a swarm of...
They're just violent and horrible, and then all of their things, which... Going, like, and then in the one later when the guy, like, gives her the gun in the girl who is rattled, he's like, they're gonna do horrible things to you.
Yeah.
Which, and we have no, after seeing the Indians in the movie, I guess Native Americans, sorry, there's no reason for us to disbelieve that. Like, they might be horrible. And it felt weird, because I know the Coen brothers are really good and I like all their stuff. I was waiting for something to happen where it would sort of, like, I was waiting for the modern twist to be like, they're not horrible, but then that never happened. They were just, but like what you're saying, if they were trying to do takes on classics,
I feel like that's the explanation, is they're trying to do takes on the classics. But I do agree with you that, like, it's a touchy enough subject that it, I think, would have benefited the film a lot if they would have at least, like, addressed that issue.
It just felt weird, and I didn't like it. But, and then, he gets away from being hanged.
Yeah.
And then
the hanging is pretty fun, though, where he's like, the guy's like, hey, can I have your horse? And
that
like,
line
no.
was funny. The whole setup, though, I think... oh, sorry.
The one that, like, really made me laugh was where he's like, that son of a bitch covered in pans doesn't play fair.
That was a great line. I did really like that. Because he doesn't even say it angrily. He's like, I don't think that son of a bitch covered in pans fought fair. And they're like, well, you said you haven't seen many Westerns. One Western, from what I remember, I like it, because it's more of a modern one, is the movie Maverick, starring Mel Gibson. Are you familiar with that at all?
I know, like, the name of it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Because I believe it's either based off of an old movie or an old TV show, and they have that same scene where a guy's being lynched from horseback, and I think that movie did it a lot better. So when I was seeing this film, I was like, I immediately thought of the Maverick film, because the Maverick one also does it a lot funnier. Yeah. Because, like, he's riding his horse, and his horse kind of keeps going forward, and then he's like, to eat. It's like the same thing, and he's like basically trying to negotiate with his horse, like, hey, stop, don't eat any more grass, because I'm gonna die. And then he, like, from what I remember, I might be adding shit that I'm not remembering. I think he basically says something like, I'll get you the best bag of oats or whatever, and the horse seems to understand him and kind of, like, prop up and look back at him, and then, like, backs up. And then he's like, yeah, but then eventually something happens and he gets spooked and ends up swinging, and then someone shoots him down. So it was that same scene. It was, like, eerily, because that's a very famous scene from that movie, because anytime, like, it gets shown, like, And then at 10 p.m. on TBS, Maverick. It's almost that scene.
Gotcha.
So the way they did it, I didn't think was very good. Not very interesting compared to that one. And then when he just gets caught again, almost immediately, for running with whatever's, my brain immediately thought, why not just lie and say, I was going to be strung up by these people. We can go right over there. There's a bunch of dead people. I don't know. It just felt...
I mean, he doesn't get like any chance to defend himself though. He does like try and talk to the sheriff, but he's just like tells him to shut up and then immediately
But that was the
gives
thing.
the like judgment.
That was dumb, is like he knows he's going to be hanged if he doesn't defend. I would be yelling over that guy like, no, fucking shut up. Listen to me. I'm not going to let you just kill me without me saying anything. And then at the end, when he's just on there, and then I got to see the thing where he's like, first time, huh?
Yeah.
I had such a different context for that line after seeing it memed into oblivion on the internet. And I was so disappointed, and this is only my fault, is because what I assumed that line came from was a movie where James Franco was an immortal cowboy, where he gets killed over and over. And this was like another time he was being lynched, and he was just telling the person like, first time, huh? And then he's going to get lynched again. And then it wasn't. It was this movie. and then he just looks out, sees a girl, and smiles, and then he gets hung immediately.
Yeah.
Which, it felt like what needed to happen for that to work better for me is Rules of Three, is he needed to get away from that lynching and then get lynched the third time, like, to really drive it home, where he's like, and then that third time he's like, I'm gonna get away from this. I've gotten away the two other times, and that's when it gets him. When he's like, I'm not gonna get away, I'm going to die, and then that sinks in. Like, I don't know what they wanted to do with that one at all. It just didn't do anything for me, and I was disappointed because I wanted to like it.
I feel like it doesn't feel like the strongest to me in terms of like a story, but it has like just little chunks of it are so funny to me that I'm willing to kind of forgive it for some of that. But
it just, so many of the vignettes, not so many, I'd say like about half of them just feel like, I was like, what was the point of them? They honestly felt like wastes of time and film to make what they went the whole time, where if they would have just taken those little bits and put them into a bigger film, and like, I don't know, they could have just made a movie combining Buster Scruggs and Near and whatever the vignette's called. I have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, it's like
It's a town.
near Algodones.
Yeah, near Algodones, and I was just like, what is the point of them trying to tell this story, I guess, and then
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I'm gonna wait to like talk about what I think is kind of the bigger theme of the movie as a whole until the end.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm
that'll
excited.
like, maybe you'll hear that and be like, oh, okay, I kind of like these better now, or maybe you'll hear it and be like, no, I still hate it. But
I think what will happen is, if it's a good reason, I'll be like, that's cool, I still didn't like it, because it's going back to my justification of, if the art wasn't entertaining to experience just because it had this head up its ass reason at the very end, for me, doesn't make it better, but I could still be like, oh, that's clever. Meal Ticket overall I just thought was bad.
yeah, that's definitely my least favorite too. Like, it just, I don't know, it feels slow. It's frustrating to like have so little information about the characters, or like, you know, how does this guy end up armless? Why is this other guy taking him around?
It felt weirdly Eastern European.
Hmm.
Like, it was just quiet with almost no dialogue and just depressing.
Yeah.
And having to get a minor in film, I had watched so many Eastern European films that were just that, and then you're just like, okay. And the point of those is to be like, your life might suck in real life Eastern Europe, but at least you're not this. But I was like, oh, this is just bad.
Yeah.
I also feel like I tricked myself a little bit, so maybe this was sort of the point, is even though it's not like a key of like storytelling, is that sometimes casting is really important.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson at least on all of his really like modern roles, he's almost always cast as this guardian figure.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Taken or Taken 2 or Taken 3 or Taken 4, Back to the Streets.
Any of the Takens.
Any of the Takens. The Gray. So my assumption was, and this is an assumption making an ass out of you and me, is that he was the like kid's father. Like the way I saw him taking care of him, he looked like he was miserable.
Yeah.
But it looked like he was miserable like for the both of them. And when I saw him like looking at the money and then looking at the kid with no arms and legs, I read that as he was worried they weren't making enough money so that he wouldn't be able to take care of him. Or I was waiting for some message to be like this, because he also looked really old. And he kind of looked weak, like when he was moving him around. Is this the story of him worrying about once he gets too old to take care of his son who can't take care of himself? And all of that. And then the chicken thing just hit me from the side, and I was like, wait, oh.
Like, so I think that's one, like, it's the weakest, but I think I liked it a little better the second time. And I think it benefits a lot from knowing the fact that he doesn't actually love this kid that he's carrying around.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the first time you watch it, it's just like a shitty twist, where the twist is he didn't actually love the kid, and he was just, like, using him to get money, and then when something better came along, he swapped out. But, like...
He didn't even have to drown him, though. That was another thing that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, it was so unnecessarily barbaric. But anyway, sorry for interrupting. I was just boiling over.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's the worst in my opinion, too, so...
Like, I did not see anything in that other than the dude's... the quadruple IPT's, like, his performance of doing the famous speeches. Nothing else in that I thought was, like, worth watching for. Like, I was just like, ugh. I thought that was really bad. I liked the Ozymandias speech, but aside from that, I was just like, this... I felt like the Coen brothers
could have been an interesting story in there, but it just doesn't work for me, at least.
When it was all over, I felt like the Coen brothers had stolen 21 minutes of my life. Like, I was waiting for something to happen, and then it just like, nope, it's done, next one, and I was like, oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Is the next one the Gold Valley?
All Gold Canyon.
Gold Canyon, yes.
The name of it.
I liked that one. I liked that one a bunch.
I like it a lot, too.
I would say it's the happiest one of all of them.
Yeah. Or at least, like, it's the one that has a happy ending.
Mm-hmm. Well, because honestly, like, except for the one part where, like, the conflict happens, it felt very upbeat, because it's an old dude, very old dude, played by Tom Waits. I didn't realize that when I was watching it the first time.
Yeah, it's, like, weirdly contemplative and enjoyable, just, like, watching the process that he goes through to find gold. And he does, like, it's a weird character, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, we got some other people. Hey, everyone, we're talking about Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Join us.
Yeah.
I like that he kind of personifies the gold that he's looking for. He's like, I'm coming for you, Mr. Pocket.
Yeah.
My favorite line during that thing was, I'm old, but you're older. Like, just the fact that he acknowledges he's an old man, but he's still doing what this very... I've hurt my back right now, and I'm trying to do stupid weightlifting, and I've basically been crippled for the past few days. And watching that old man pan for gold in the river, which I know he had to be doing for hours a day, made my lumbar cry.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh
yeah,
my
he, like, looks like he's got a lot of soreness going on.
He does it without complaining or grumbling. He just does it, and then he finds the gold, gets shot from a stranger, which is a weird thing in and of itself. Like, I was waiting for him to get murdered once he found the gold. Like, that was what I figured was going to happen. Is the way the shooter, who never gets named, kind of, like, acts after shooting him, it seemed weird. Like,
Well, it's he where he like get sits on the edge of the hole and like smokes a whole cigarette, and you just like sit there waiting for him.
well, the thing is, he doesn't even
And
smoke a whole cigarette. He starts smoking it and then puts out the tip and then puts it away for later.
yeah,
It was just weird.
but it just like takes a lot of time, and I think that's like a deliberate decision to make you think like, oh yeah, he's definitely dead.
Hmm.
Because you're like sitting there watching this guy watch him after having just killed him, and like
I guess that makes sense.
if he just immediately jumped down in the hole and then the miner like gets up and fights, then you're like, I mean, still a little surprised maybe, but not nearly as much as when you have like watched three stories in which all are like kind of downers, and you're like, yeah, this one's probably going to be a downer too. um but then instead he like,
Gets
springs
up
back
and
up.
kills
Yeah.
that guy. But and then when he realizes that he has been shot clean through, because he bled out a lot. Like he's gonna. I don't know if it's implied
Yeah.
that he's. Well, no, he cleans himself up. Never mind. I was like, it
Mhm.
seems almost implied that he's going to die because he lost a lot of blood. But then I forgot he cleaned himself up. That's where the absurdity for me came through, is the idea of absurd luck.
Yeah.
One, finding a vein of gold is crazy, and then
Mhm.
getting shot nearly point blank by old shitty guns that normally,
Yeah.
like, and this is from Red Dead. Like that's my only real knowledge of that, is like, well, they talk about it in depth, like, yeah, a lot of these old bullets, since they're not made of great metal, just tear apart inside of you and then you just die. Is he survives getting shot, killing the guy, and then leaving.
Yeah.
That's crazy luck.
Well, so it might be luck, but there's one other potential theory,
Mm-hmm.
I think, which is that I like I don't think it's for sure what we're supposed to be or what's supposed to be true in the world of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's one interpretation where the owl that he's interacting with
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like a supernatural entity, and the decision that he makes to only take one of its eggs instead of like all of its eggs is like maybe something that the owl sees, like, here, you've come out in nature, which is my space, but you've like only taken some, you didn't just like take everything.
Mhm.
And so like maybe there's one reading of that story in which he's kind of rewarded by the spirit of that area.
Because
Um,
that makes a lot of sense, and I sort of thought about. I didn't think like the owl specifically was supernatural, but like when the vignette starts, it's all the elements of nature, and then Tom Waits'
Yeah.
character shows up, and they all leave, and then he does his shit. Then when he leaves, they bookend it by showing all of it come back,
yeah.
and I guess I sort of took it as this is the same thing as that Tom Waits' character doesn't really use any technology when he's out there, but the dude who shoots him uses a gun, which is like
Yeah.
the ultimate symbol of man at that time. So the guy who violates nature by attempting to kill this dude who's been following the rules gets punished,
Yeah.
and then Tom Waits gets all of that gold, which he was then probably murdered for as soon as he got out of the tree line, because the bag he was putting the gold into said gold, and it was full of gold. Like, having played Red Dead Redemption, like the crazy people who just go, oh, that's a bunch of gold, now that's my gold.
Yeah.
Like, Tom
Yeah,
Waits doesn't realize it, but he just started a new Western movie of where he gets murdered, and then the main character is looking for the murderer of him who has all the gold, and then it's just 8 different posses fighting for this gold. That's what Tom Waits really did by the end
Yeah.
of that, is start a gang war for possibly millions in gold.
Well, I'm glad we didn't see that, because I like the thought of him getting to enjoy that gold.
That would be nice. But yeah, that one was good, and I don't think really had anything else to really analyze other than old man gets it. He
Yeah.
he wins. it felt like the weirdest actual like talking about fables, I guess. Is it was had the most lesson of just hard work and perseverance and never giving up gets rewarded in the end, even after you get shot in the spine. But yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to say about that one?
Not right now.
So we're at 40 minutes, and this is great. We still have a lot to go. I want to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I saw that really fast. The gal who got rattled. Was the one? Was like the one that was spoiled for me in the picture.
Yeah.
Because I saw Mr. Arthur and the dog, and he's like, and he didn't know what he would say to Billy Knapp. And then when like halfway through the dog goes away, I'm like, okay, the dog's gonna come back, and something about that is going to get this girl killed, and Mr. Arthur isn't gonna know how to tell Billy Knapp that this girl is dead. I should have probably put in the tags for this podcast that spoilers
There's
were
spoilers.
bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now. Sorry for anyone who was wanting to see Buster Scruggs unspoilt. There we go. Saved it. We've only ruined 3 people's nights.
Well, that's good then. It's
But,
minimal damage.
That one, to me, starts like it's doing the stereotypical, like, weak woman in the West's empowerment story. Like, I've seen that in a lot of Westerns where it's the girl gets, like, her village burned down, not village, like her town burned down, she has nowhere else to go, and then either she just, by the end, becomes strong and either gets married and, like, builds a new home to live, or if Tarantino's making the movie, she goes on a bloody rampage and gets hella vengeance on all of the wrongdoers. And so that's where which this is once again the Coen brothers tricking you.
Yeah.
It seems like that's what it's going to be when Alice's brother is dead. There's no money. She effectively has nothing but this wagon, and she can't pay this dude. So I was waiting for her to have her moment of like, I'm not going to live in my brother's terrible shadow decision. Overall, it felt like, when you watch it all, it felt like a trick again.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, it sets up like, oh man, she's going to get married and they're going to have a life, and then the Coen brothers go, nope.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it felt like to me was... Like, I guess that's one thing I am not a fan overall of usually anthology or vignette story or like movies.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit for 2 hours. I want to get to know a character for it to go and then have a conclusion, and I don't think you can really do that in a single thing. Buster Scruggs was not trying to do that. It was like, here's absurd craziness, go. It was like eating a bunch of pixie sticks, and I loved it. But like this one, it starts developing characters just for them to die.
Yeah.
And then once again, the Native Americans are treated like crazy war vermin.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So this one I think is actually my second favorite.
Okay. I know you're crazy, so that's I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also know that I like things that are up their own asshole. So.
I don't like acknowledging that I know that because it makes it feel like I'm taking a shot at you, which I'm not. But okay, but yes, I know you have the David Foster Wallace disease.
Yeah.
But okay, I'd love to hear why it's your second favorite.
So like, I actually really enjoy the character development in this one, and I like the characters a lot, and like. The ending doesn't feel like a trick to me. It does feel really cruel, but I don't mind that it feels cruel because it's like part of what I think is the point. And I think that this is the story that also ties the most heavily into like what the themes overall of Buster Scruggs are. So if you want, like, maybe now is a good time for me to like try and make that case.
Yeah.
So I think something that they talk about a fair amount on the Coen Brothers podcast is the idea that the Coen brothers are very interested in nihilism and also in like ideas of the universe feeling unjust. And so like an underlying theme in another movie of theirs, No Country for Old Men, is just
Mm-hmm.
the like way that it doesn't matter if you're good or evil. Like in the end, that's like completely irrelevant to the outcome of the plot.
Yep.
Um, and like I think that a lot of these stories are playing with those same kinds of ideas, where like you're supposed to be thinking about like how do you approach life knowing that whether you act wrongly or rightly doesn't necessarily have an impact on the outcome of your life. And like kind of touching on, so like the stories, like you said, they feel kind of random a lot of times in the ways that they end, or you're like, there was all of this buildup and then they just die. But I think that's like what the Coen brothers are kind of trying to say is like sometimes you can work really hard and you just get shit on. But I mean also sometimes you're lucky and you're living in Gold Canyon. Um I don't know. So like in this story in particular, Alice and the guy have a conversation where she's saying to him basically like, I think I'm different from other people because other people seem like they're certain about things and I'm never certain about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like, I think that's a good quality. Like uncertainty is not the easy path, but it's the one that we have to take. And there's a certain extent to which her end in that story is a punishment for certainty. Like she sees that guy and thinks that got killed and is certain and kills herself as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I
But at
does
the
any
end
of
of the
that
day, like what the
kind of like
that all that does at best is make me go, oh, that's, I guess that's a point. But then at the end it goes,
yeah.
why waste the time telling that story? What does that add to the like the rich tapestry of cinema? Is saying, well, sometimes you get fucked. Is
Well, because that's like an antithesis to the vast majority of cinema, where like if you're the good guy, you win, and if you're the bad guy, you lose.
I
The
guess that's
Coen
not the thing
brothers are
though.
making what?
Is that that's not an antithesis. That's what like that is. I guess maybe it's an antithesis for Western film, but there are so many times where the bad people win.
I mean, there's plenty of examples of like movies where the bad people win, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say like if you're looking like percent wise at all movies,
Across
how
all movies from everywhere.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Is the vast majority of the movies that we are exposed to as like Americans, that are like
yeah.
pop culture movies. Yes,
Okay, so that's
but
what I mean then.
yes, okay, but
Because like the Coens are writing for an American audience
mm-hmm.
primarily, and are like also steeped in the pop culture of having grown up in
Mm-hmm.
America.
I guess
Um,
like I just still don't see the point because the Coen brothers aren't like usually they don't make movies. I wouldn't say they are like very popular in pop culture overall. Like a certain person like you and me will watch a Coen film, but we're also like weird film snobs. Is that
yeah.
we are the main audience?
Hmm.
We already know that the bad guy wins. So unless you're telling it in a very stylized way or something like that, just doing that and then going, "Well, see, it's just like real life." Like, well, I don't need, yeah, just like real life. I live in real life. I know every day that bad people win. What is the point of why are you showing me this in this way, other than to make me feel bad? So,
I mean, to make you feel bad or like to make you think about that if that's like not something you'd normally think about. And like in all, like I get what you're saying. Like to a certain extent, they're preaching to the choir because like the
mm-hmm.
group of people who ideas like that are appealing to in the first place. are already the group of people who are interested in thinking about those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like it, I guess I don't know. Partially the idea of saying like what's the point in that is hard for me to understand.
Yeah, that's
Um
I know that it's not like this is it's also me, but
yeah, it's just like what you want out of film, and if what you want out of what you like in film isn't that, then that's like a perfectly valid take. But for someone like me, I really like to see movies that play with those kinds of ideas. So
I guess I don't really feel like they were playing with an idea though. They were just doing a thing that's been done before. Like I didn't feel like anything that was done in this movie was different than things I'd kind of already seen.
hmm.
Like I've seen that thing. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was. I'm sure there's a Western movie equivalent, but I know I saw like a Chinese film where I want to say it was even like a Hong Kong cinema film where basically like a girl is like being protected by this dude and like gangsters are coming after her and they know that if they get her she'll die and she is given a gun and then he is like I'm going to go hold them off. I only have enough clips, basically kill yourself. And then
Yeah.
he manages to survive and I can't remember the movie, which is frustrating, but I remember the scene is the sounds of bullets stop, and because of how the movie's been done, it's heavily implied like the way the bullets stop is that the main character has died. Because like either his gun made a certain noise or something, I don't remember what it was, but then it turns out he forsook his thing of what he was doing through the movie and ended up killing these dudes with like his bare hands or something. And he makes his way back to the room to tell her, we're alive, we can go. And then he opens the door and she has shot herself. Because she's like, I heard the thing and I know you're dead. So, and I can't, the Coen brothers may not have watched every movie ever made, but it was another thing when I saw that scene, I thought about, oh, it's like the Maverick thing they did in the previous one, is that I've seen a better version of this already. So when I was watching this one, I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. Because the thing I was waiting for, which bummed me out also, is me just writing stuff in my head, is when she was given the gun with only 2 bullets. Is I was really hoping when she refused to shoot herself, she was going to use those 2 bullets to kill the Indians. Like, she was going to save him using the 2 bullets.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh? And then she just shot herself. And I was like, it was just anticlimax. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, fine. I just wanted it to be done. Like, I didn't need the movie to go further. I just want to go, okay, roll the next one. I don't care. And then they walk up to the top of the hill, and he's like, and then he didn't know what he'd say to Billy Knapp. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. But
Yeah. I don't think I have a way to like justify why I like that piece and you don't, but
yep, it's pure. Like, I don't feel that my way is like my output is 100% correct, and Robert's crazy.
yeah.
I think it's
Despite the
crazy
fact
that that's
you
your
had
second
told me I was
favorite
crazy.
one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's just what it was. It didn't feel like to me it did anything that was worth putting to film for a reason other than to be like, haha, we got you.
Yeah.
With emotion tricks, because I really liked the setup of her getting to know Billy Knapp.
Yeah, I did too. Like,
So I was waiting for him to die and then for her to have her strong, empowering moment, but they just kill her instead, and it's just like, at the end, it was just like, what was the point? If once again I felt like they had just taken 24 minutes of my time. Like, what was the whole point? What do I learn? Because to me, to get really crazy and doctrinal, for me, art media really has 3 purposes, and they all begin with E. To either educate... Shit, I forgot what they were. Hold on. Educate...
I'm guessing entertain.
Yep. Educate, entertain, or emotionally manipulate. And then if you're playing video games, it gets a 4th one, which is engage. But I wrote a weird paper on this in college. And... I don't really feel that did any of those things. I was like not entertained, not in a way like when I say entertained, I mean like Buster Scruggs was entertaining from like a spectacle perspective, like
Yeah.
the singing, music, the weird gunfighting, like just watching that was like, ha ha, ha that was fun. I didn't learn anything that I didn't already learn before. Like either it would be a moral lesson or like a cold hard fact lesson. And I wasn't emotionally moved in a way that I felt something I haven't felt in a long time. And was like, I felt a catharsis or a wash of emotion. Like I didn't have that moment where I'm like, oh, that I normally only get when I watch like boxing movies, like Cinderella Man. So it didn't really do any of those three things. So then it made me ask, like, what was the point? Of that? But once again, that is my guideline of watching entertainment. So I can't be like, no, Robert, it didn't fit the 3 E's. You're wrong. So
well, and I mean, I would even say, like, I mean, it's a downer of a piece, but I like movies or stories that are kind of a downer. So like, can you say that like that's entertaining for me in a way?
yeah, like if you are entertained, then you get to say I'm entertained, so that's wrong. But that becomes pure opinion once again. Like it's just I liked it because whatever. So yeah, I'm just saying for me it didn't fit that criteria of any of them. The perfect movie does all three, or the perfect game does all four.
Yeah.
But like Buster Scruggs, I think did all three. When I look back and I think about it, I was like, oh man, that did all three. That was great. And then none of the other ones, like, I was going to say, Gold Canyon got me emotionally when I was like, shit, that old man's dead. And then he got up and he's like, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. And then he did. And then he lives and gets all the gold. I felt like, like a rising up and a lowering in my soul. And I was like,
yeah,
he got me, Mr. Pocket. But yeah, Meal Ticket didn't do any of those things, and then neither did this one. They were just like, at the end I was like, shit, that was just a waste of my time. I would have enjoyed it more if I just would have skipped it. And then the last one...
Fair enough.
Do you have anything else you'd want to say about this one before we move on?
I don't think so.
And then The Mortal Remains, is that what it is? The Mortal Remains.
Yeah.
That one also felt the most heavy like fably to me.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a supernatural thing. Do you think in that situation those people are actually dead?
I honestly don't know. I mean, we're definitely at least supposed to like think about that question. But like it's hard for me to answer. There's like the piece which makes me think like maybe, or at least like lean a little bit more towards maybe, is when they're like carrying the dead body up the stairs of the hotel and you see that it's light there, so you're like, oh well, they're just, that guy is actually going to heaven instead of hell, or I don't know if that's like what the implication is supposed to be, but
because for me that was the thing that kind of convinced me in like the reality of the world they probably weren't dead. Is like, unless it's the whole thing of everyone goes to heaven first to be judged and then you get sent to hell, why was the dude who was hunted down and clubbed to death, which I would say in that situation would make him like the sinner, why does he get dragged up to heaven by the 2 angel bounty hunter people, whereas the other ones just get to like sort of walk in? So yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if maybe if I went back and like listened more carefully to that dialogue, if I wouldn't, I think it's possible that like the way that the Reapers talk about the man on top of the carriage is a little bit deceitful because they don't want to let the other people in the carriage on to like what's happening. So there's like a reading of the story in which the reason that the dead guy isn't in the carriage with them is because they're keeping him safe from them. And so like we have to assume that maybe they like lie a little bit, or at least like choose their words very carefully around the people in the carriage to like keep them from figuring out what's going on too fast. But I don't know. I'd have to like go back and really like watch it more carefully to decide if I actually think that's what it is for sure. But
Because that was another one when it showed the picture image for it, is like no matter what they yelled, the carriage driver did not stop. And I saw he was all dressed in black. I'm like, okay, they're riding a carriage into the afterlife. Like that's what it was immediately. That was what my brain went to.
yeah,
But so that's my thing. I think they're probably not actually dead, only because of just trying to keep the logic of why would the dead guy get dragged up to heaven. I don't know. Because the other thing that like made me think, oh, they are for sure all dead, is the line that like the guy with the mustache, the dapper Reaper has, is he always looks into their eyes to see if they're figuring it out.
yeah,
And then like a few minutes later, all three of the other people have this moment where they all just kind of look, and then like it looks like this heavy revelation is settling on them. Like, so they're all realizing, shit, we're dead.
yeah,
And then when they got there, I was like, okay. So that's why I was saying it needed to have like, I was waiting for the doors to open, and then like James Franco, the woman, and like all of them would be there. And I'd be like, oh, they're all dead. But
yeah,
the heavy-handed nature of the thing upstairs. If there was an upstairs and a downstairs to go into, when they open it, then I would have been like, okay, this is like the waiting room of the afterlife. But
yeah.
I don't know. It also just, as far as a spectacle goes, I don't really know if there's a lot to analyze.
I mean, I actually like enjoyed the aesthetics of that one a lot. Like it's not doing anything spectacular, but I don't know. I was like interested in the way things looked, the like creepy hotel that they're going into.
It was fine. Like I wasn't like angry or anything by the end of it. I was just like, oh, okay. It was another thing where as I was watching the carriage scene happen, I was like, man, the carriage scene from The Hateful Eight is way better than this. That was what this movie was me just thinking, man, there are better westerns that do these individual parts better and then still have a full movie that lets you have a full movie experience.
Yeah,
So I was just like,
maybe
man.
it's possible that my enjoyment of this movie benefited a lot from having seen so few westerns.
Mm-hmm.
But
It was like it was like I thought the characters were good. Like the French guy was good,
yeah,
and the trapper guy. I like the fact that he talked a whole lot in his like weird little story about living with a Native American lady. And I was like, that's nice. But then at the end, it's like you really didn't like. It was a very like the very stereotypical church lady.
yeah,
Like, there was nothing in that scene that felt new. It was just like this is a rehashing. So that's why I said it felt like a fable. Like I've seen this set up before, and it was fine.
yeah,
So I guess in a way it sort of bookends the idea of fables with that and then Buster Scruggs thing. So it was fine. It just at the end it was just boring for me. And I was just like, man, I want to watch The Hateful Eight or Django again.
yeah.
And now I'm very hesitant to watch another Coen Brothers film that comes out. Just because I'm like, is it just going to be a haha at the end everything's dead because entropy's real? And I'm like, I already know that. Joel and what is your other name? Ethan?
Ethan.
I was like,
Well, I'll continue to watch their movies.
I'm like, because I really like Country for Old Men. That one's really good. Because
Yeah.
I know we're not talking about that movie, but even like what you said, I've heard that viewpoint of being like, at the end of the movie, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. But another way to read it, of looking at how the characters act, is like is whether you're honorable or dishonorable.
Yeah.
Is that the honorable person lives at the end of that movie? Because even though his honor is twisted, is that Sugar always follows his word. If he makes a promise, he does it.
Yeah.
Whereas what is the dude's name? He has like a girl's name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He
And I watched it just like a couple weeks ago too.
he lies and steals, and he
Yeah.
gets punished for it. Even though in that movie, from a standard westernized perspective, he is the good guy because he is being in comparison to Sugar, who is this unstoppable killing machine. But so that to
But
me,
Sugar is morally consistent, whereas he is not.
so that to me has an interesting twist. Is like, yes, he's technically the bad guy and he gets away, even though he gets fucked up. is because I remember seeing an analysis that like a truly bad person would have killed those kids because he has the opportunity and the means to do it, and they recognize his face, but he just says okay, and then he goes, and then whatever. So, but this is also right after he killed that guy's wife, but he set out the rules, and he's like, and
I mean, he doesn't like always follow his rules, though, does he? Isn't there like one scene where he flips a coin, and then like there's a very heavy implication? Like, I don't think it shows the killing on screen, but like the shot after that is him stepping out of the room and doing that thing where he like takes off his boots.
well, that's the wife scene, from what I remember, because he comes out and he scrapes his feet.
Yeah.
So my assumption was he had gotten some blood or something on his shoes after shooting her, because that's the one you don't see the outcome or hear the outcome of.
Well, it's that one, but I think there's also one where he's like gone into a trailer. He's like gone to it was like a trailer park or a motel or something, and he's like trying to get information out of the lady who's running it.
I guess I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but from like what I remember and then hearing the analysis and hearing that opinion, like it's the bad guy wins, quote unquote, which is the nepotism thing, but it's also he was morally consistent, and that's why he gets away with it. And I was like, okay, that is an interesting twist on something, whereas nothing in The Girl Who Was Rattled was an interesting twist on anything. It was just life sucks, and then sometimes you accidentally shoot yourself in the face when you don't need to. And I was like, oh, okay. Thanks.
I hate to be a pedantic dickhead, but I feel like you would want me to point out that nepotism is not
nepotism, sorry, nihilism. No, yes, do point that out, because nepotism is another whole issue that is fucking up everything in the world.
That would have been funny if it was revealed that No Country for Old Men was about nepotism.
It was the reason that I was thinking of some joke of the little machine he uses to like poke people's brains out was actually like the son of his shotgun, so that's why Sugar used it so much.
Makes sense.
Sorry, I meant to say nihilism. But no,
I figured that was the case.
That's not being pedantic, that's being like, hey, dummy. We're trying to talk about analysis and you're using vastly wrong words. Being pedantic would be earlier when I was correcting Kyle on the difference between icing and frosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty pedantic.
I love food and I want everyone to be correct about it. But yeah, so overall, like I watched the Buster Scruggs first vignette 3 times and I still enjoy it. So I almost want to say overall I'm glad I watched it just to see that. But then at the same time I'm like, I just didn't really like anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, ugh. I
liked all of it except for Meal Ticket, so I guess if you like the sort of things that I like, then check out Buster Scruggs.
You heard him, everyone who's not watching. So anyway, I think that was good. So ready to move on to the next topic, or do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
All right. I'm talking about our bad gaming habits.
Indeed.
And these can be both in-game and out-of-game.
Excellent, because I wrote down some of both.
Okay. Because the one for me that is very bad, especially in games I've been playing by myself and not on stream, and even some on stream I was doing it and I was really annoyed with myself. Fabulous Al is watching, and he's cutting me off at the pass for when I was playing to shit talk Will. For me it's save scumming.
Oh, where you just like make a shit ton of saves?
Well, no,
Is that what that means?
Save scumming is like saying like I'm coming up to talk to you, and I'm given 2 options, and I'm like, I pick an option that at the time feels right, but then it makes your character mad, and then it makes sense why you're mad, but I'm like, oh, I don't want that to happen, and then I reload it, and then I pick the other option.
Gotcha.
It's using saves as a means of avoiding consequence, which are a huge problem for me in Bethesda games. Yeah. Because I'm not someone who wants to play through the whole game multiple times right away, which is dumb
Yeah.
because I almost always pick it up again a couple of years later. But I'm just like, I'll talk to a dude and he'll be like, "Oh, now I hate you," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, no, F9, nice shoes," and he's like, "Now I love you forever. You can marry my daughter." And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I'm also someone who's a stickler for getting the best possible ending in terms of like
Mhm.
everyone being happy and alive at the end.
Yeah.
So another one that was really bad for me was XCOM, where there's permadeath on dudes. That every time I'd lose a dude, I'd be like, "Nope, just restarting the mission."
Yeah.
So
I get that in like games where you have dudes that can die and you don't want to let them die.
that is my number one biggest with a bright red sign. My worst gaming. What's some of yours?
I don't know. I didn't like rank mine in terms of order. You know, we like started this and I I sat down and just like immediately came up with like a list of 10 things. It's like I have too many bad habits. Um, but so the first one that I wrote at the top of my list was unbridled rage. Just because like I think you've seen me get mad a couple of times in video games.
I actually don't
It
know if I've
happens to
ever
me.
seen you like your person get mad. I've
Yeah.
heard you get
But you've at
frustrated.
the very least heard me get
Yes,
mad.
but I want to
I-
see it someday.
It's like the worst in multiplayer video games. Like I'll just get tilted and keep playing and end up, you know,
Get
like
tilted. Yeah.
I will get tilted, yeah. And you know, like I think I may have talked about this before, but like back when I used to play Hearthstone, I broke like a computer mouse smashing it
Damn.
too much. I mean, it just like knocked some of the shit inside. I didn't like smash through the plastic. I'm not
Oh.
that strong, but
I mean, like
um,
the worst I ever saw you kind of get was when we were playing Dokapon one time, and I
oh yeah,
just remember like because you had to like because you weren't finding like stars, you were finding like bits and pieces, and then you need to combine the pieces to make it like a recipe or something. And I
Yeah.
remember I was at one end of the map and I'd gotten like that thing, and then it was your turn, and you were really close to the other thing that was needed. So you were like, "I'm gonna get that thing, and then we'll have to race to get the third item." And you did the roll, and you ended up being like 2 spaces away. But because I had gotten the other thing, I ended up having like a quadruple super dice, and I rolled enough to make it all the way back from the map. And then I killed you on the way over, and then took the thing. And you didn't get like angry and like yell or anything, but you rolled into yourself, and it got very quiet. And I was like, "Ha ha ha!" And you were like, "Nope." And I was like, "Oh, this feels weird." But yeah, I've never seen you
Yeah.
rage.
I don't think I've like ever gone off on someone in person. Because usually, like when I'm playing games with another person, you can just laugh, or like sometimes just be like, just like shut down. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, definitely like things can set me off, and it isn't just like multiplayer games. Like playing single player through Dark Souls. You know, like I will just run a boss for like hours at a time and get angrier with each attempt, and therefore do worse with each attempt because I'm too angry to play well.
Gotcha.
You know.
Because I didn't hear you getting mad like any of the times when you were like, "Oh, I have to run this boss."
Okay, but do you remember? I think it was the first. I think it was the first time we streamed Dark Souls, and one of the people who invaded our game came in, and I just like went off after he killed me.
Yes. Okay. Now I remember when he's like, "Why is this motherfucker? How high level is this guy?" Now, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will just like Tourette style spew out like 10 different expletives.
Yes, I remember now because
Yeah.
after that stream, I was talking to Will and I was like, "That was some of the best word slam-a-jam I have heard in a long time."
Yeah, I do that when I'm driving home too, and other drivers annoy me. So yeah, it's not good.
So I guess I don't know if I've really had a problem with anger. Mainly that I kind of just get frustrated. I'm like, ugh. And I just
Yeah.
get sad more than I get angry. And then I'm like, I don't really want to play anymore.
There's like a stereotype that people who tend to be like quiet and reserved often have just
Mm-hmm.
like untold rage brewing in their depths, and sometimes that's true for me.
Gotcha. Say,
Yeah, I think I'm just like very. I don't want to be mad, so I like even if I'm feeling like a little mad, then I just like cool it down and it never goes anywhere.
gotcha.
So like instead for me it just builds up and up and up until it all comes out at once,
Mm.
which is not a healthy approach to anger. But
No, it's not.
yeah.
All right, what else? What else you got?
Okay, so um I think this one is like maybe a little bit similar to yours where you like always need to get the good ending.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, and this is one that I've done a lot to like get better about over the years, but I still have the like tendency to it is like trying to 100% and losing interest.
Yes,
Um,
that's yep. That is a
so
thing
yeah,
for
like
sure. I didn't think about that one.
yeah, like I I think I have played I've like started and got significantly as in like over 100 hours into Oblivion 3 different times. Not Oblivion, Skyrim three
Mm-hmm.
different times. I have never finished the main campaign in Skyrim because I'll just like get in and I'm like, I want to go do all the things, and
Mm-hmm.
then I never finish like the main thing because I did too many all the things and lost interest.
Yep, that happened with me not too recently with like Dying Light. I was like, I'm gonna do all these challenges, and then I was like, brr.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
So
is
yeah,
an
I've
issue
had to
for
like
sure.
yeah. Yeah, that's something where like a lot of the times now when I'm playing video games, I'll have to like consciously stop myself and be like, dude, don't go do that because if you keep doing all of these things, you'll never like finish the main thing. Which is like frustrating for me because I have that impulse where I'm like, I want to do every side quest. I want to see everything that this game has to offer, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll just like not that there aren't games where I can do that and there it's a good enough game that it'll get me through, but I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
like I have that, and I think I've gotten away from that some. Is where if something's like a challenge on a map, I will nine
Yeah.
times out of 10 be like, no. Like if it's a race or something, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Normally, big side quests I'll do. Like I'm playing through
Hmm.
Sunset Overdrive right now because I have the Game Pass. Is I'm trying to do all the side missions, and I'm near the end of it. Like I've beaten the main story, and now I'm finishing up the two DLCs. But there are like 125 just like jump between all the cars, and I'm just like, nope, can't, nope, that's gonna take so long. And then near the end, there's like a group of side quests from every faction that are like, just go over to this thing and do this activity. Now do it 3 more times. Where I came so close to not finishing it.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's enough goofy writing that it kept me doing it. But yeah, if there's nothing like to give me that sort of feedback with like funny writing or something like that, I try to just be like, nah, I can just lay this by the wayside.
Yeah.
But
Man.
speaking of Oblivion and games like that, I have a very bad habit, and it's a stereotypically bad habit because I see it made fun of all the time on our gaming and stuff like that. Is where I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna start this new, and I know I'm gonna do it with the Outer Worlds and probably Cyberpunk. Is where I'm like, I'm gonna play this game as a big tanky punch boy, and then it's like 30 hours in. Man, I'm a really good sneaky archer. I'm the best sneaky archer.
Yeah, I do that too.
Or I'll be a sneaky sniper. It's just things where I'm like, yep, no one's shooting me, and then I end the game with 800 potions of health because I never had to heal because no one ever saw me.
Yeah. No, that's like super real. I definitely did that in like the Fallout games that I've played and all of the Elder Scrolls games that I've played.
But so I'm gonna try in the Outer Worlds to not be a purely sneak boy, although I plan to play on hardcore mode, so maybe I'll have to be so I don't just die.
Yeah. In all fairness, like I don't know, I think I enjoy that kind of gameplay more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like that I think we talked a couple a couple weeks ago about the new Doom games, and I was like, I don't really like them, and I think that's why is because you have to be like up and aggressive and in the fight, and that's not fun for me with that like ranged combat. I like to do the like sneaky sniper stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely get that where like you'll go into Oblivion and or Skyrim and be like, I'm gonna do like a cool sword thing this time, and then it doesn't happen.
Anytime we're like, I'm gonna do a primary magic build. Nope.
I will actually go through with that one.
I know you will. And then you'll be like, man, it's hard to solo the whole
Too
game like
hard.
this.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have another one on your list?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty more.
Oh boy.
So, one that was one that I have that I think is a bad habit is that if I put down a game and then decide like don't finish a game and I put it down, but I keep like thinking about it and I'm like, you know what? I want to give that game another shot. Instead of picking up where I left off, I will completely restart the game every time. I never pick up where I left off.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad habit, unless it turns into a thing. Then you never finish the game.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if I'm starting again from the beginning, it greatly increases the risk that I will not finish it again.
Gotcha.
Because that's like what like what I was talking about with Skyrim, where I'm fairly confident I have at least 3 profiles that I put well over 100 hours into, but none of them have ever finished the main quest. Any
Mm.
of them easily could have, especially if I came back to them and was just like, I'm going to immediately go and finish the main quest. But I just won't do that.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm say because I know like my favorite game of that sort of thing, Fallout New Vegas. I would get like 20, 30 hours in, and then I would restart just because I'm like, I don't really like this build.
Yeah.
But then yeah, I eventually finished it. So maybe one day you'll finish Skyrim when it comes out on your graphing calculator.
Yeah. I'd have to get a graphic calculator.
Well, you can play it on your Amazon Alexa.
Really?
Yeah, there's like a text adventure version of it. I don't know how long or
Weird.
involved it is, but it's apparently a real thing.
Hmm.
What's the age of consent in Whiterun?
Oh boy.
I heard the triggering.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate it.
Uh, Sometimes I'm like, man, their household seems like it'd be fun, and then sometimes I'm like,
I
no,
mean, it's a little of both. It's fun most of the time.
that's good. Trying to think, what was another one? I mean, like, man, save scumming was just such the big one. That's the one where I do it, and as soon as I hit F9 to reload, I just go, ugh, why did I do that? So I'm trying to think, I don't really think I have another.
For me, it like varies with games. Sometimes I'll go into a game and be like, I'm not going to reload any when I play this, and then I don't. But there are definitely games where I do also.
Mhm. This was sort of another one where I was kind of hoping we'd get more people that they'd be like, this is what I do that's really bad. But yeah, like I've seen, I guess I didn't really see Will play any open world games before Fallout 4. In Fallout
Yeah.
4, you can't really be like ragged on for hoarding because every piece of junk can be made into something. But
Yeah.
like now we're playing Fallout New Vegas, and it was just near the beginning. He was just like picking up every random piece of shit, and I was like, "Will, stop it, no!" And that's why I had joked before Fallout 76 was even a thing that if there was just an multiplayer Fallout game that I was like I couldn't party up with Will because he would just be over encumbered just through all of our journey, and I'd be like, I have to
Yeah.
leave you behind now.
Yeah, I definitely have that hoarding impulse as well in games. I think like in the games like Fallout or Skyrim where you do get over encumbered, I get better about it. But I'm also the kind of person who's always like, I'm not going back to town until my sack is full of shit. like as full of shit as it can possibly be. I'm gonna optimize as much of this run as I can, and
Fair
then you
enough.
just end up like, you know, bringing back 40 rusty iron swords, and the dude's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll give you a gold just to like go away, and you can leave these here if you want. I don't care."
There was a mod in Skyrim I saw where it's called like "This is your problem now," and it was
Hmm.
just anytime you would go to a merchant and you would like go to sell a whole bunch of stuff, instead of normally just hitting like E to be like in the transaction is done, you could hit like Q, and you would do
Hmm.
the transaction, you'd get the money, but then as soon as it would come back to normal, your character would just projectile throw everything that you had just sold to them just into their face, and it would fall on the ground.
That's kind of beautiful.
So you'd be
I
like,
really
here's,
like that.
I sold 87 wheels of cheese, 14 old armors, and then a billion potions. And then it's like, the transaction's done. Here.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Do you have any, like, bad impulses that you have, like, well, aside from that, like, that while you're playing the game rather than outside of the game? It seems like the ones you've said are more, like, external related.
I mean, the hoarding is definitely bad. Hmm. I'm sure there are some. I'm not like thinking of them right now. Um, I will say like one thing for me. Okay, so this one is like fairly in game, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty bad at like paying attention to the plot in games that I play.
Mm.
Um, like especially like in a big game like Fallout where I know that I'm gonna get quest markers. A lot of the times I'll just completely lose interest in like what's being said and just like scroll ahead through everything, like paying attention to none of it and be like, okay, I'll guess I'll just go to this marker and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's good.
Mm. Yeah. Fab is outright as opposed to something that is a thing that I also have a problem with that I didn't think of. Oh, were you okay?
Me?
Oh yeah, you're just like looking up at something, and is the feed
Oh
up
yeah.
above you?
Yeah, it's on my TV, so it's like kind of up, so I have to like look up to see
Oh, okay. I thought you were
the
like
stream,
crying
yeah.
or something, and I was like, all right, oh, you
It's
okay?
like my game habits are so bad.
Is yeah, reading ahead to make sure you get the best ending.
Yeah.
Uh,
That one I'm like, I never do that.
yeah, I have definitely done that. I did it with Dark Souls 3 because I knew just that there was a weird ending. Like I didn't have too much spoiled. Like I try to because I think people have gotten better at providing guides that are like, here's how you get the best ending, but a very vague way of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in I know like when I would play like Skyrim, I'm like, oh man, I would go to like the weapons page and I would see a cool rare weapon and I'm like, how do you get that? And I would click on the quest and it would tell me what the quest was. And I would try not to like read about the quest. I just try to read like who gives it so I know where to go to them. But
Yeah.
then my eyes, while skimming over, will just like read out of the corner. And then you have to make sure that you kill your wife. And I was like, ah!
I guess I have had that happen to me before. Not where I'm like looking through a page of rare items, but like I'll see something in game and be like, I wonder what that is. And if I think it's like a puzzle that I should be able to figure out, and I've like sat there for 5 or 10 minutes and I'm getting nowhere, and I'm like, okay, this is a puzzle, but it's not a fair one, so I'm just gonna look it up, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll like spoil a thing. But I, as we've discussed before, I don't tend to care that much about spoilers, so that isn't like as big a deal for me, I guess.
Mm. But yeah, definitely. In The Witcher, I also did a little reading ahead because I wanted the best
Yeah.
ending because I heard like the best ending is great and I was like I want it, and it required doing some sort of weird steps to get. So when I was reading them, there was some spoilers
Hmm.
for stuff that I wish I hadn't seen, but then in the end, it was totally worth it getting the best ending.
Yeah.
But I now don't know what it would have been like to be like completely pure going into it. and getting it on accident and then going, oh, it feels good.
Man. Oh, here's one that I've got that's definitely like an in-game one.
Okay.
Is that sometimes in games I'll just learn like one basic move combo, um,
Mm-hmm.
and like just use that the whole time.
It's bread and
Like,
butter.
yeah, like I really like I'm bad at spectacle fighters, but I like them a lot. Like the
Tried.
Bayonetta games are some of my favorite games, and like if you get good at Bayonetta, the fights can be so cool because it's like you see an enemy and you transform into a panther and you like run up to them as a panther and then you jump out and you have flamethrowers on your feet. So you do like a cool spin kick with the flamethrowers and then jump up with your scythe and do like a pole dance on the scythe and then turn into a bird and fly away if you're
Mm-hmm.
good. But I will just like learn a couple basic combos so like every fight ends up feeling the same where they could have a lot of variety.
Character action games are weird.
Yeah.
Trying to use spectacle fighter. Come on.
Is that you what a spectacle fighter different from character action game?
I mean, a
Am I
spectacle
using that
fighter
term
is
wrong?
not a thing. That's what Ben Yahtzee Croshaw tries to call character action games.
Okay, well I like spectacle fighter better.
Oh, it
So
is. It's a better name, but I just as soon as you said that, when we were talking about zero punctuation last time, I was like, hmm. But yeah, character actions make sense, but I don't know. I would
I
say
mean those are like that's a I like games like that a lot.
they're
Or
awesome.
also like Dragon's Crown that I've been playing right now
Mm-hmm.
is like an awesome game and there's so many cool things you can do, but like I finished my run with the Amazon and like almost exclusively used the move where you just like jump up and then axe spin through the air and you can like move back and forth axe spinning,
Yeah,
um, which was effective, but like I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff that I could have done with that character that I didn't
like the
because I was
midair
too busy
twerk.
axe spinning. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of other bad habits in gaming that I have. Uh, See, it would be ones where people are like, "I do this," and then I'll be like, "I also do that."
Yeah.
Even though I am the alpha gamer. I
This is
am.
one that's like only for multiplayer games, but I think I'm like pretty bad about like comparing myself to other players.
Mm,
Like I think that's a pretty unhealthy impulse to like want to be I don't know, like objective it's weird to say objectively, but like I feel like games are more fun when you're just going in and you're like I'm just going to enjoy myself, you know.
yeah, that makes
But like
sense.
I'll get into a competitive game and be like, no, I want to be good at this. And then, you know, I'm like brought gold for forever in Overwatch. Um, I guess I was almost in the upper echelons of Hearthstone once, but
So close.
so close. One win away.
Oh,
One win away.
I guess sort of along those same lines. If I'm playing a multiplayer game and I'm playing it by myself, I'm really bad about trying to play as a team. I
Hmm.
usually end up just running off and going like, "Well, I'll do the best I can," and then
Yeah.
because I haven't played a game like Rainbow. I haven't played Rainbow Six Siege online yet, which is a game we own and we need to play. Which is a tactical game where it requires teamwork, but
Hmm.
like when I was playing Chivalry a lot or Overwatch, I played a couple times where I played by myself, where
Yeah.
I was not like in team chat. I was just McCrean over here.
Yeah, it's like it's very difficult to learn to like communicate with other people, especially like I'm a pretty introverted person.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's easy to talk to you because I know you well, but like if I'm stuck in a lobby with five randos who I've never met before, it's hard to like have a productive conversation with those people, or even to just say like, "Hey guys, how you doing today?"
That's how they all sound.
Yeah.
All right. What? Any? You got any other ones?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
So I was gonna say, I have a bad habit where like sometimes I'll play a game and just like spend a whole day or like a whole weekend and that's the only thing that I do. I will like forget to eat a couple of meals a day because I'm just like playing that game.
Did that happen with you with Symphony of the Night?
It didn't happen to me with Symphony of the Night. I think the last game that did that to me was Stardew Valley. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, it's like games like that are the one that do that to me the worst. Like Terraria, I've had some days with too. Um, like games that have I don't know, just like a lot of stuff that you can find, I will get really into sometimes, um, and just kind of like get lost in that world and lose track of time. And then like a week later, I'm like, oh God, what have I done?
I definitely can get like that with games. The last game that I really remember something like that happening was Fallout 4. When it was
Mm,
coming out, I got like 5 days of vacation at my old work, and I just took off a week the day it came out and just played it all day for 5 days in a row.
yeah,
Just sitting in my room in my underwear, just breathing out of my nose while I filled my mouth with peanut butter M&Ms.
yeah,
Just say, I haven't really played a huge game that was completely brand new for me since then, so I haven't been like,
hmm,
oh man. But I mean, like the next time the Elder Scrolls comes out, I'll probably be like, oh shit. But hopefully by the time the next Elder Scrolls comes out, this will be my job, so I can just be
be
like,
nice.
I'll be streaming it.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I haven't had that happen, but definitely
Hmm.
when I was younger, that Fallout 3, Skyrim, I believe in college I couldn't really let that do that because I was taking like 27 hours a semester.
Mm,
So I was like, I want to play this for 19 hours a day, but I have to study for 4 tests and write a dissertation.
yeah.
But GTA 4 was another one where I spent because that was like my first real open world game.
Hmm.
That was like made at the level the GTA game is, so I was just like running around pushing fat people down the stairs.
Yeah.
I did that for a really long time. Because that was like the first game I noticed like physics and the Euphoria engine in that game is nuts. So I was like, I'm gonna wait at the top of the stairs and just shove people because it wasn't against the law.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some goofy hours of fun to be had in that game.
All right, well let's keep working down the list of Robert video game therapy.
All right. So this is, I guess, like maybe tied to some of the other ones, but just like general impatience. Um,
Like what?
well, like something will be too hard and I'll get impatient with it. Or also sometimes, like if I'm playing a game and there's something complicated that would require like a lot of research, like if I'm really into the game, then maybe I'll do that. But sometimes I'll just be like, fuck it, I'm done. Like,
Like a really
I,
like weird system in a game?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. Like impatience can definitely like there are good games that I haven't finished because I got impatient with some part of it. Like I know we say Dark Souls all the time, but I got impatient with Dark Souls.
I hope that one day you will overcome.
Yeah,
All right.
certainly possible. But I would say I also have the inverse, where sometimes I can be like way too patient with a game.
Like what?
Uh,
Like what?
well, so the ones that like stick out to me are the things like Terraria or Stardew Valley, where I can just like really get sunk into them, and then you just will like I don't know get. It's not even that. I don't know. I think there are games where like I will give the game too much of my time. I'm being like too patient with it.
Okay.
It's not like giving me enough to actually justify the amount of time that I'm sinking into it, but I'm sinking that time in anyways.
Really, the only game I can think that I've done that with would be Deadly Premonition,
Hmm.
which is a game I love, and I recommend. Like you were one of the few people I think I could recommend it to you, but I don't know. Now that we're talking about this, I don't know if you would be able to like it or you'd be like, I hate this. Because do you know
Hmm.
anything about that game? I think we've talked about it.
I do know some, yeah.
It's like Twin Peaks, the video game,
Yeah.
but it is
Well, it's the one of the favorite games of a YouTube commentator who I know you don't particularly like, so he mentions it a lot, and I've
Jim Sterling.
yeah.
Huh? I figured he would hate that game.
No, he loves that game.
But okay, yeah. See, I guess he's not completely terrible. But yeah, it is a terribly made game with like wonderful character. That
Yeah.
like driving around is terrible, and I know there's parts where it's like, all right, did this mission. Now literally drive to the other side of the map, and I'd be like, oh my god. And then you
Yeah.
drive to the other side of the map, and then that mission is just him drinking coffee really weird, and I was just like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if the world and the characters are compelling, that's a thing that I can be really patient with. Or, like, I think we talked about this the other day, but Nier Automata, the first time I played it, and, like, my computer didn't handle it well. So, like, every scene, every fight, I thought had, like, a slow-mo filter going on because my computer was handling it so poorly. But I still finished the whole, like, A storyline. I think that a lot of patience went into getting through all of those awful slow-mo fights.
Your computer
But
might be able to play it. Like, I don't. I think it's also shittily optimized.
that's what I'm saying is like, it's pretty infamously badly optimized.
Oh, sorry. I was sort of. I was saying Deadly Premonition.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going because I was going to say I recommend because the summer sale starts in 4 days.
Yeah.
I think it goes down to like $5. I would say pick it up and give it a run. It would be really fun to have someone to talk to about it.
Yeah.
But it is.
Or that could be one that I save for when we can finally stream single-player games with me.
That would be really cool. But okay, but yeah, that would make sense. Probably just time priorities not being where they should be.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Because we're at a little under 2 hours, so we're getting kind of close to the end. But I'm up for talking about some more.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple more written down.
All right.
That I think are like kind of related. These ones are sort of like game-related habits. But the first one is buying dumb Steam games or Humble Bundle games that I have never played and probably never will. I don't know if that's like sometimes I'll see a game on Steam and it'll be like on sale for 59 cents. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about 59 cents. Why not?
Gotcha.
And I'm like, I don't want to play it right now, but like, I'll just put it in my Steam library and it'll be there for me someday. And then like, I just threw away 59 cents. Or
well, I
like,
mean, hopefully the developer got that money.
that's true.
I don't know if I'd call
But
that a
maybe they're
bad
terrible
habit. If
developers.
you were like, I paid $38 for it, and then I never played, I'd be like, But if you're meaning like literally
Yeah.
like under a couple of bucks
Mm-hmm.
for just because it's like, this is Shark Slapper 7.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that habit like pays off sometimes too, because every now and again I'll like try something weird and then be like, that was awesome.
Do you have any examples of a weird but awesome thing that you tried?
I don't know, nothing's coming to mind right now.
Dang.
Like, tell you what, I'll look through my library for our next stream and see if I can think of anything.
Sounds
Be
good.
like a fun little surprise for all of our viewer who wants to show up next time.
Good one. All of our viewer.
But so like one that I think is really related to that, and I've called this chasing the dragon, which is where I will like have a game that I've already beaten and I want to play a game that's like it. And I will just like go around and spend hours trying to like figure out one game that might scratch that same itch and end up like picking something subpar and just like being like, fuck it, I'll try it. And I don't know, like I've gotten some real stinkers that way. Granted, it's if you can play for less than an hour, then it's fine because you just return it on Steam. But
Have you done that before? Have you gotten a refund?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I haven't done that
Yeah,
yet.
it's super easy.
That's good.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it for shitty Steam games.
As I haven't bought a shitty game in such a long time.
Yeah, that's a good practice. I take risks on too many games sometimes. Like,
like the Hyper Neptunia RPG.
I have high hopes for that.
I hope it scratches all of your itches.
Thank you.
Do you have any other ones, or is that about it?
I think we made it through my list.
Nice. This is a very productive podcast. We went for almost 2 hours.
Nice.
For as much as I didn't really like the Battle of Buster Scruggs, it certainly had a lot for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. And I guess once again I could say it gave me an excuse to talk with one of my best friends for almost 2 hours. So
yeah, that was
still,
fun.
I want my money back. I want Joel and Ethan to come to my house and be like, here's 87 cents for the amount of your Netflix subscription you spent watching our movie this month. And I'll be like, thank you. All right, so I guess now we come to the part where we figure out what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
Trying to think what would be a good movie. 'Cause I prefer this to be a thing where maybe it's like one has seen it, one hasn't, or neither have seen it. Because I was thinking like.
I mean, I think there are like good reasons to talk about movies that both of us have seen before too. But
I guess before I start thinking, did you have any you wanted to? Have you seen Old Boy?
I haven't. That's been on my like list of things I should watch for forever, though.
Well, can we do that one?
I'm assuming the original.
The original. The new one actually isn't terrible, but it is not as good.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Old Boy?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That yay. That has so many things in it. Okay, cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna rewatch it. I know Will won't watch it with me again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard some of it's pretty brutal.
It's not necessarily brutal. It's like fucked upness.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Then the movie out of the way. What? I guess if we can keep it related to video games, it'd be cool. Is there any video game related stuff you want to talk to? We could also necessarily not have a topic, but maybe just talk about like news if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I'd had an idea the other day, but I don't remember what it was. Let me see if I wrote it down in my phone notepad. Because sometimes I have good ideas and I write them down.
That's a good
and
practice.
Sometimes I don't. Looking at all my notes. I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, now I'm seeing one of the other things I wanted to bring up. One was biggest disappointment in gaming.
Yeah. I feel like you might already know mine, but
I actually, what is it? I was saying, like, you can just tell me what it is. I might go, oh yeah, I remember, but shit.
Are you sure you don't know?
You're gonna say. I think we talked about it sort of recently. We were like, you were so excited, and then you played it, and you're like, what was it?
It was a game that came out when I was in high school, and now there are like 30 of them.
30 of them. Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what it is?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good to talk to because like I think that's a good games, but if you're like, this is why I'm disappointed, do you want to do that?
I mean, we can talk about it. I don't know if there's like 40 minutes worth of conversation in that.
Well, it doesn't have to be necessarily the biggest, but it could be our biggest disappointment.
Just like talk about games that were disappointing to you.
Mm-hmm. And even like so just brainstorming now, there are games where when I played it, I was initially very disappointed in it, and then I played it like a couple years later, and I was like, this is really good. I was stupid.
Okay. So just games that didn't meet your expectations. And that could be positive or negative.
Yes.
All right. I like that as a topic.
All right, cool. We got that all worked out. We had up to like I think 6 people at one time were watching us talk about bullshit, so that was cool.
Oh yeah, nice.
So all right, so we have that worked out for next Thursday. Old Boy and expectations of video games, good or bad. And then we'll be playing again with each other on Saturday with Terraria.
Yes.
And Casanova, Kyle, said he's up for it still, so it'll be 4 of us. And from what I can see, since it's like I looked at, I haven't played Terraria since 2013. Is that since then they've made co-op much easier. Like it's just you start
I
a
do
game.
think they like made it work through Steam now.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. Is you can just go, hey, come to my game, and then you just invite through Steam, and you can come right over.
Yeah, I remember like playing it back when you had to set up a
Like it's almost like a server or something.
do like port forwarding and all of that horse shit.
That was a pain in the ass. So now I'm very excited. Have you played Starbound?
Actually, yeah, I like that game a lot too.
That was something I
I
meant
do think
to get.
Terraria is better, but
Oh, okay. Well, cool beans. Well, we'll stop taking up the internet's time for right now. We'll just say thanks for everyone who's stopping by. Tomorrow I'll keep playing Dark Souls like I've been doing, and we're almost done, I think. Oh, God. And we'll play some more Fallout New Vegas, and hopefully we'll get to 40 subscribers, so that way next week can be really weird for him.
I'm excited to watch him drink just a lot of ranch dressing.
There will be an abundance of ranch. But
oh man, you need to just like you need to get a green screen, and then you can have like a ranch background for him to drink ranch in.
I was looking at that. I don't have a lot of room behind my bed right now, and they're kind of expensive. They're like $40 to $60. But they're definitely something I will hopefully get later, as hopefully this channel takes off more and we have more money.
Yeah.
But until then, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.